Peter O'Neill, thank you for joining me this morning at IBM's Innovation Centre here in Dublin. And congratulations on your appointment as the American Chamber President 2012. Today you will brief the press on the key issues for foreign direct investment. What are the priorities for your presidency in 2012?
Thanks, Brian, and I'm delighted to be taking on the role of President this year and very much look forward to working with all the member companies of the American Chamber. In terms of priorities, the Chamber has three key priorities around tax, talent and competitiveness. Now, last year we saw a very sustained and significant attack on our tax regime, and I think the Chamber was very clear and very strong in terms of our position on that issue. It really is a core and a vital issue for Ireland in terms of our economic policy, and I think we've had very good support from the government in terms of also being very clear that this is non-negotiable for us. On the competitiveness front, I think we've made a lot of progress over the last number of years, probably benefiting more companies that are coming new into Ireland than those who've already got established bases here. But nevertheless, we've made good progress. We need to continue to make further progress over the next number of years. And then we've got the whole issue of talent and skills. And when you look at it on the surface, I mean, the IMD World Competitiveness Report ranked us as number 4th in the world in terms of availability of skills. But I think there are some very significant warning signs for us in terms of our position on skills. We've seen the PISA report and the issues we have with numeracy and literacy. In our own industry, the whole IT industry, there's a very clear and documented shortage of skills. We've seen a drop in terms of the university rankings. So I think there are clear warning signals for us that our position on skills is not as strong as it needs to be. So therefore, in terms of my priorities for this year, skills is the area that I will be focusing on.
Peter, you have gained considerable business experience and insight in your role as General Manager of IBM in Ireland. How do you think that will aid you in taking on this role as the President of the American Chamber of Commerce?
Well, there's probably two things maybe that I would point to. I've been 30 years with IBM, so I suppose I'm regarded as a lifer. But I've been lucky in that time to, as well as spending most of my career here in Ireland, I've worked in France, in the UK and in the US. And as part of that, I've spent time in what was our European headquarters in Paris and our corporate headquarters in New York. And therefore, I've kind of seen the dynamic of these investment decisions as foreign direct investment, both as working in the subsidiary, but also working in the corporate headquarters and how these decisions are made. So I think that's an insight that certainly I think I could share with fellow members in the Chamber. The second thing is that over the last 10 years, IBM in Ireland has gone through very significant transformation. 10 years ago, approximately 2/3 of our people were engaged in manufacturing. Today we don't do any manufacturing in Ireland. We've got a very heavy presence in software development, in services, in a multilingual sales and marketing centre serving all of Europe, and more recently in research and development. So I think a lot of other companies within the Chamber are on a similar journey in terms of that transformation. So again, I think that's an experience that I'd be more than happy to share with other companies.
Peter, the preeminent business and investment issue that's lurking in the long grass has been the Eurozone debt crisis. How do you think that's impacting on foreign direct investment now, or is likely to impact on foreign direct investment over the coming years?
It's a great question, Brian. There's no doubt that the issues we're facing in the Eurozone are creating uncertainty. And uncertainty is never good for decision making and never good for companies who are looking to make investment decisions. So there is a danger, I think, that with that uncertainty, it is going to perhaps delay investment timeframes. I think the other impact it's having is that clearly it is acting as a drag in terms of overall Eurozone growth. And that's a key market that we are looking to export into. So I think there is some concern there. On the other hand, in talking to other member companies within the Chamber and in terms of our own experience, we're not actually seeing any day-to-day, operational impact on our business. I think the other important thing is that the Chamber, quite rightly, a year ago, put a huge focus in terms of Ireland's reputation because, again, we were quite rightly concerned. I think move on a year and, what was Ireland's problem is now a Eurozone problem and is clearly perceived to be a Eurozone problem. So I think that is a very different place to be than we were a year ago.
You've put skills very high on the agenda, the availability, its retention and development. Why is that such a strategic issue of importance for foreign direct investment?
I think it is very important. I think anecdotally, as members of the Chamber and as we talk to one another, as we hold our CEO forums, it comes out very clearly that skills is a big issue for our members. I think if we look more empirically, IBM publish an annual report, the Global Location Trends, which look at foreign direct investment flows and what's driving them. And in looking at the most recent report, what's very clear is that what doesn't drive them is actually concern about short-term growth prospects. That's not actually what drives companies in terms of looking at long-term investment decision. What drives them are three key factors. First of all, have you got a favourable business environment? And I think in Ireland we do. We've already talked about our taxation regime. We're English-speaking. We're in the EU. I think we're all very familiar with those aspects. The second thing it focuses on is have you got a strong cluster, a strong sector strengths. And in Ireland, I think, and credit to the IDA, we do. We have great strength in pharmaceuticals, in IT, in the finance sector, in life sciences and medical devices. And then more recently, we've seen the IDA focus in terms of internet-centric companies and gaming. So I think we do have a very good story to tell in that area. The third key factor that the report highlights is the availability of skills. So this really is key for us. If our member companies go out and work with our corporate headquarters to secure new mandates for our companies here in Ireland, and then they can't execute because they don't have the skills, then for sure that is going to create very significant problems for us. So this is a really, really important issue for us that we must address.
And finally, Peter, you've touched on the matters of reputation in this morning's interview. How would you assess Ireland's standing a year on after being very much in the spotlight of in the international business and media community?
Again, I think, any of us who are dealing with our own parent companies outside of the country or working in the US, I think we come back from those visits saying, actually, Ireland is perceived very well. And indeed, somewhat perversely, we're probably viewed more positively outside the country than we actually view ourselves here. So, I mean, that's, if you like, one indication. But I think the facts, again, speak for themselves. We had the IDA annual report on Friday, 13,000 new jobs, 6,000 net new jobs into the FDI sector, strongest performance in 10 years. We had the Chamber's report, Built to Last, published in fourth quarter last year. First half US investment into Ireland, which is the latest data we have available, 17.7 billion, an increase of 49% year on year. Exports grew by over 4% last year. We had the IMI report, again published in the fourth quarter of last year, polling CEOs of Irish subsidiaries in Ireland, over 50% of them expecting to grow employment in Ireland over the next year. The balance pretty much neutral on that. So overall, I think we have a very good story to tell, and we shouldn't lose sight of our strengths. It really, really is important that we build on the strengths we have. It's really important that all of us who are running subsidiaries of US companies here in Ireland, grab the opportunity that is out there, and we go and look to secure bigger mandates for our companies. So I have to say, I'm very positive and very confident about the future for Ireland as we head into 2012.
And clearly looking forward to the year ahead.
Absolutely looking forward to working with you and the rest of the team in the Chamber, Brian, but particularly working with all our member companies.
Peter, thank you very much for joining me this morning.
You're very welcome, Brian.